Hi guys and gals, Shane Stevenson again here at the Buffalo Naval Park. And for tonight's video, again in the Admiral's quarters and again with the whiteboard. Alright, I hope you don't mind that. I love it, and I think it's a good way of conveying knowledge. Sometimes I use the PowerPoint, sometimes I stand there and talk with notes on a various bulkhead or something, and sometimes I use the whiteboard. So, well, first off, great picture of the USS Little Rock, all right, in the Admiral's quarters. And this is again out of proceedings. I'm telling you, I'm loving going down this road, and it's even expanded my interest, dare I say, expanded my interest beyond our 3 vessels that we have here at the Buffalo Naval Park. And now it's kind of expanding out to learn more just about the growth of the Navy, how it was affected by the treaties, and this video will be a little bit about that. So it seems though about every 6 months or so, in the Proceedings magazine, they would list what the U.S. Navy is currently constructing, where it's being constructed, the percentage of completion, a potential proposed end date or a completion commissioning date. And so I have 4 of these up on the whiteboard, and again, we're right in the pocket, right in the pipe, 1922 into 1923 with the Washington Treaty. And you'll see kind of how that, you'll see kind of the effects of it changing because of that treaty. And again, it's not something I have full knowledge of, but it's something that I've been reading about, and again, to know every little detail is pretty difficult. But let's take a look. So yeah, so they would, in the Proceedings magazine, just one sheet, all right, May of 1922, December of 22, August of 23, and December of 23. And of course, as I get into 1924, 5, 6, no doubt these will also be listed. All right, so one of the things, obviously, if you just go over the Washington Naval Treaty, it was really affecting the growth and the construction and tonnage of battleships, battle cruisers, and also aircraft carriers. So what I'd like to point out is all of these come from after the signing of the Washington Treaty. All right, the treaty was signed in February of 1922. We're looking at May, so to get it in, this is, all right, progress as of April 30th, 1922. So you'll see they start with the battleships. Colorado, Washington, West Virginia, South Dakota, you see the list. The completion. All right, the contract date of completion, and then the probable date of completion. So if we take a look, 45 to 54, again where they're being built, completion, all right, and proposal time. So again, for May of 1922, you can see where they're constructing 9. Let's go to December of 22. And now look what happens. Suspended, suspended. 7 get suspended. 2 move on to completion. The USS Colorado and the USS West Virginia. So all those others with the dashed lines are now scrapped. The Colorado was completed in August of 1923, so they say July of 23 here, so they're just a month off. All right, for the West Virginia, she was completed December of 23, And here they'll list proposed and probable date of completion as September. Excuse me. But all the others are suspended. Now let's take a look at the battle cruisers. All right, that was also affected. Those would be like a mixed ship as well, like we were talking about with the flight deck cruisers. A little battleship, a little cruiser, could go a little faster than a battleship. Similar armament, similar armament, but not the same armor. So for the battle cruisers, we're looking at Lexington, Constellation, Saratoga, Ranger, Constitution, and United States. Again, the place they were being built, the completion percentage, right, and the probable date of completion. So here they killed two birds with one stone. All right, they're also listed now. Again, we're into December. All right, there's the Lexington. There's the Saratoga. All others have been suspended, but they're still listing them as battle cruisers. Now, if we go to August of 23, battle cruisers, suspended, Constellation, Ranger, Constitution, and United States. Suspended, what do we see? Lexington and Saratoga. So they took them from battle cruisers. Now, a few months later, right, 7 months later, the progress would have been as May 31st of 23. They have now reclassified the Lexington and Saratoga as aircraft carriers. We often talk about the Ranger. All right, you can see she was going to be a battle cruiser, was canceled, and then what we know of as the first true keel to mast aircraft carrier was then constructed in by 1934. And so if we go to the last one that I'm displaying right here, the battleship West Virginia is listed. The airplane carriers are listed, Lexington and Saratoga. And then they're also listing auxiliaries, and then here you get the submarines, which you don't get listed in the prior reports. Any of those three. All right, so the Washington Treaty did not limit anything on submarines. Did not restrict any construction or building on submarines, to my knowledge. But I could be wrong about that. So let's go through one last thing here, the scout cruisers. All right, what we would now kind of know as the light cruisers. You see there are, what is that? 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. These were all of the Omaha class. You can see the Omaha was at 99.2% completion. The completion on board the ship itself was 94.8, and then you can see it going down to the Memphis, which was 40% complete, 26% of the ship complete. So if we follow those through, all of them got completed. All right, the Omaha was completed in February of 23. So you can see she's taken off this list here, because by August of 23 she's already off. Milwaukee was completed in June 23. So she was just about ready to be done by this report. And of course the lag time, as you can see, 99.9%, 99.9%, 9.5%. And then we go down the list. All right, Cincinnati was completed January of 24. Raleigh was completed February of 24. Detroit was completed on July of 23. Oh yeah, she was at 99.1. Richmond was completed July of 23 as well. Concord was November of 1923. And then so on and so on. Trenton, Marblehead, and Memphis were 24, 24, and then 1925. This turned out a little bit wonkier than I would have liked. But really cool information here in these Proceedings magazines. So even though the Washington Treaty was signed in February of 22, it took time. Obviously, there was negotiations, there were approvals that needed to happen, and so that 553 sounds great, sounds easy with a ratio. What was happening was that if Britain was constructing a couple cruisers, then we would say, based on that ratio, well, we should be constructing cruisers that will match. If Japan was saying, oh, we're just completing 3 cruisers to get that 553 ratio, then we would say, oh, then we would need to complete 5 cruisers based on that. So there was a lot of negotiation based on what each country was constructing at the time, what they were able to complete, and the tonnages and the armaments. So of course there's just that lag time with huge building or deconstructing programs like this, that it just takes a while for it to filter down and through each accepting of each government has to accept it and approve it. All right, one of the things though that was one of the weaknesses was that our intelligence gathering wasn't that great, and so Japan could have told us anything. Right, they're like, oh, we're building a Congo class battleship, and the top speed is 23 knots. Well, then we would say, oh, okay, well that's 23 knots for the battleship. Well, really though, maybe that battleship would go 27 knots, right? And they would give us false information as disinformation. Right, and so that was also something that we had to kind of ramp up our intelligence gathering on the other belligerents that signed the Washington Treaty. Well, okay. Here's another quick scan. May of 22, December of 22, August of 23, and then December of 23 as well. Well, I probably got a little deeper into the woods than I would have expected, or I hope you enjoyed it, even if I did. So again, the Proceedings magazines, you're getting a lot of information from them, and I hope you enjoy. Please like, if you really liked this, subscribe, and you know what? We'll see you again soon. Thanks, everybody.